Have you ever wondered if the answers to your financial struggles have been hiding in plain sight for centuries? What if I told you that an ancient text holds the key to unlocking wealth beyond your wildest dreams? Are you ready to discover financial wisdom so powerful it could transform not just your bank account, but your entire life? Take a moment to let those questions sink in. Hello, dear friends. Welcome to our channel. Today, we're embarking on an extraordinary journey that will challenge everything you thought you knew about money. We're diving deep into Jesus' parables about finances, and I promise you, what you're about to learn could revolutionize your approach to wealth and success. Before we dive into this topic, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Your participation helps us spread this transformative message to more people. Let's get started. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, what do stories from 2,000 years ago have to do with my 21st century financial challenges? Well, prepare to have your mind blown. These aren't just quaint tales from a bygone era. They're timeless principles that are more relevant today than ever before. Whether you're drowning in debt, dreaming of financial freedom, or simply want to be a better steward of your resources, the insights we're about to uncover will transform the way you think about money. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about getting rich. It's about something far more valuable. These parables reveal a perspective on wealth that goes beyond mere dollars and cents. They offer a paradigm shift that could redefine your entire relationship with money, success, and purpose. So, buckle up. We're about to embark on a 20-minute journey that could change the trajectory of your financial future. From the parable of the talents to the rich fool and beyond, we'll unpack the hidden gems of financial wisdom that have been hiding in plain sight for centuries. Are you ready to unlock the vault of biblical financial wisdom? Let's dive in. Our first stop on this enlightening journey is the parable of the talents. Now, before you start thinking about America's Got Talent, let me clarify, we're talking about a different kind of talent here. In biblical times, a talent was actually a unit of money, and a pretty substantial one at that. We're talking about a sum that would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in today's currency. Picture this. A wealthy businessman is about to embark on a long journey. He calls his 3 employees and entrusts them with his wealth. To one, he gives 5 talents, to another 2, and to the last, 1 talent, each according to their ability. Now here's where it gets interesting. The first 2 employees immediately spring into action. They're not content to just sit on this money. No, they see it as an opportunity. They invest, they trade, they hustle. They're out there in the marketplace, taking calculated risks, seizing opportunities. By the time the boss returns, they've doubled their money. 5 talents become 10, 2 become 4. Can you imagine the excitement, the sense of accomplishment they must have felt? But the third employee? He takes a different approach. He plays it safe. Actually, safe doesn't even begin to describe it. He digs a hole and buries his 1 talent, paralyzed by fear of losing it. He's so afraid of failure that he doesn't even try to succeed. Now, you might be thinking, well, at least he didn't lose it, right? Surely the boss will appreciate that he protected the money. Wrong. When the master returns, he's thrilled with the first 2 employees. He praises them lavishly, saying, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness." But the third employee, he gets a harsh rebuke. The master calls him wicked and lazy, and takes away even the 1 talent he was given. So, what's going on here? Is Jesus advocating for risky investments? Is he saying we should all go out and play the stock market? Not quite. The parable is teaching us something far more profound about our approach to the resources we've been given. First and foremost, it's about stewardship. Everything we have, our money, our skills, our time, is ultimately a gift from God. We're not owners, we're managers. And as managers, we have a responsibility to make the most of what we've been given. This flies in the face of the common attitude that says, "It's my money, I can do what I want with it." The parable challenges us to see our resources, not as our own, but as tools entrusted to us for a greater purpose. But here's where it gets really interesting. The parable isn't just saying, "Don't waste your talents." It's actively encouraging multiplication. The master doesn't just want his money back, he wants to see growth. This challenges the scarcity mindset that often plagues our financial thinking. Instead of hoarding our resources out of fear, we're called to invest them wisely for growth. Now, let's break this down into practical terms. Maybe you're sitting on some savings, afraid to invest because the market seems unpredictable. Or perhaps you have a skill you're not using because you're afraid of failure. This parable is a wake-up call. It's saying that the biggest risk isn't losing what you have, it's never realizing its full potential. Imagine if you approached your finances with this mindset, instead of asking, how can I protect what I have? You might start asking, how can I grow what I've been given? This could mean investing in the stock market, sure, but it could also mean investing in your education to increase your earning potential. It could mean starting that business you've been dreaming about. It could mean using your skills to create additional streams of income. But wait, there's more. Notice how the master gives different amounts according to their ability. This isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. It's a reminder that we're not all starting from the same place, and that's okay. The expectation isn't that we all end up with the same amount, but that we all put in the same effort to multiply what we've been given. This is crucial because it frees us from the trap of comparison. In our social media-driven world, it's easy to look at others' success and feel like we're falling behind. But this parable reminds us that our only responsibility is to be faithful with what we've been given, whether that's a little or a lot. Here's a thought that might shake up your perspective. What if we applied this principle not just to our bank accounts, but to all areas of our lives? Your relationships, your career, your personal growth. Are you burying these talents or actively working to multiply them? The parable of the talents is a call to action. It's urging us to step out of our comfort zones, to take calculated risks, to invest in growth. It's challenging us to shift from a mindset of scarcity and fear to one of abundance and possibility. So let me ask you this. What talents are you sitting on right now? What resources, financial or otherwise, have you been given that you're not fully utilizing? How might your life change if you approached these gifts with the mindset of multiplication rather than mere preservation? As we move on to our next parable, I want you to keep this mindset of stewardship and growth in the forefront of your mind, because as we're about to see, the way we view our resources can have eternal consequences. Now, let's shift gears and dive into another powerful parable that Jesus shared about money, the parable of the rich fool. Buckle up, because this one might challenge some of our most deeply held beliefs about wealth and success. Picture this. There's a wealthy farmer who's just had a bumper crop. His barns are overflowing, his profits are soaring, and he's facing what many would consider a good problem. He has more wealth than he knows what to do with. Sounds like the dream, right? Well, not so fast. This farmer's response to his newfound abundance is fascinating. He thinks to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. So, he comes up with a plan. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry. Now on the surface, this might sound like solid financial planning. He's preparing for the future, ensuring he has enough to live comfortably. Isn't this what every financial advisor would recommend? But here's the twist. God calls this man a fool. Why? Because that very night, his life would be demanded from him. The punchline of the parable is powerful. This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich toward God. So, what's going on here? Is Jesus anti-wealth? Is he saying it's wrong to save for the future? Not at all. The issue isn't the farmer's wealth itself, but his attitude towards it. Let's break it down. First, notice the farmer's self-centeredness. It's all about I, me, my. There's no consideration of others, no thought of using his abundance to help those in need. His wealth has become his idol, the source of his security and identity. In his mind, this abundance means he can finally relax, take it easy, and live a life of leisure. But here's the problem. Life is about more than just accumulating wealth for personal comfort. The farmer has forgotten that he's not just a consumer, but a steward. He's been blessed with abundance, not just for his own benefit, but for the benefit of others, and for the glory of God. Second, look at his short-sightedness. He's planning for many years of easy living, completely oblivious to the fragility of life. He's storing up treasures on earth without a thought for eternity. It's as if he believes he can take it all with him when he dies. This is a trap that's all too easy to fall into in our modern world. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us that more stuff equals more happiness. We're encouraged to plan for retirement, to build our nest eggs, to secure our financial futures. And there's nothing inherently wrong with any of that. The problem comes when we start to see these things as the ultimate goal, rather than tools to be used for a greater purpose. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, he's missed the purpose of wealth. In his mind, abundance means he can take it easy. But from a biblical perspective, increased wealth means increased responsibility, not decreased. It's an opportunity to make a bigger impact, to be a bigger blessing, to do more good in the world. So, what's the lesson for us? It's a wake-up call to examine our attitudes towards wealth and success. Are we accumulating just for the sake of accumulating? Are we finding our security in our bank accounts rather than in God? Are we using our resources solely for our own comfort? Or are we considering how we can be a blessing to others? This parable challenges us to be rich toward God. But what does that mean practically? It means recognizing that all we have is ultimately a gift from God, meant to be stewarded wisely. It means using our resources not just for our own benefit, but for the good of others and the advancement of God's kingdom. It means storing up treasures in heaven, investing in things of eternal value. Imagine how different our financial decisions might look if we approached them with this mindset. Instead of asking, "How can I accumulate more?" we might ask, "How can I use what I have to make a lasting impact?" Instead of finding security in our savings, we might find it in our relationship with God and our connections with others. This doesn't mean we shouldn't save or plan for the future, but it does mean that our financial planning should extend beyond just our earthly lives. It's about adopting an eternal perspective on our resources. Here's a challenging thought. What if we saw our wealth not as a means to retire early and take life easy, but as a tool to do more good in the world? What if, instead of bigger barns, we built bigger visions for how we could make a difference? The parable of the rich fool is a powerful reminder that true wealth isn't measured by the size of our bank accounts, but by the richness of our relationship with God and the impact we have on others. It's urging us to shift our focus from accumulating wealth to accumulating eternal value. As we continue our journey through Jesus' teachings on money, keep this perspective in mind, because as we're about to see, these principles of stewardship, generosity, and eternal focus are woven throughout all of Jesus' teachings on finances. Now, let's explore a couple more parables that offer profound insights into our relationship with money. First up is the parable of the dishonest manager, which at first glance might seem like an odd choice for financial wisdom. But trust me, the lessons here are game-changing. In this parable, a rich man's manager is accused of wasting his employer's possessions. The rich man decides to fire him, but before he does, he asks for a full account of his management. The manager, realizing he's about to lose his job, comes up with a clever, albeit dishonest, plan. He goes to his master's debtors and reduces their debts, hoping to ingratiate himself with them so they'll help him when he's unemployed. Now, here's the surprising twist. The master commends the dishonest manager for his shrewdness. Jesus then says, "For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of the light. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves, so that when it is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings." Wait, what? Is Jesus advocating dishonesty? Absolutely not. The point isn't to emulate the manager's dishonesty, but his shrewdness and foresight. The manager understood something crucial. The resources at his disposal were temporary, so he used them strategically to secure his future. The lesson for us? We need to be just as strategic and forward-thinking with our resources, but with an eternal perspective. Jesus is saying, if people can be this clever in using money for temporary earthly gain, how much more should my followers be clever in using money for eternal purposes? This parable challenges us to think beyond just budgeting and saving. It's asking us to consider, how can we use our financial resources now in a way that will have eternal impact? How can we invest in relationships and kingdom work that will outlast our bank accounts? Imagine if we approached our finances with this level of shrewdness and eternal perspective. Instead of just asking, "How can I make more money?" we might ask, How can I use my money to make a lasting difference? Instead of seeing wealth as an end in itself, we'd see it as a tool for eternal investment. This might mean being more intentional about our giving, looking for opportunities to support causes that align with our values and have long-term impact. It might mean using our skills and resources to mentor others, investing in the next generation. It could mean starting a business that not only provides for our needs, but also creates jobs and benefits the community. The parable is also a reminder that our financial decisions have relational implications. The manager used money to build relationships that would support him in the future. While his methods were unethical, the principle of using resources to strengthen relationships is sound. This doesn't mean buying friendship, but rather using our resources in ways that foster community and support others. Now, let's shift gears to another parable that, while not directly about money, has profound implications for how we use our resources. The parable of the Good Samaritan. You probably know the story. A man is robbed and left for dead on the side of the road. Two religious leaders pass by without helping, but a Samaritan, someone from a group despised by the Jews, stops to help. He doesn't just offer first aid. He takes the man to an inn, pays for his care, and promises to cover any additional expenses. While this parable is often seen as a lesson in compassion, which it certainly is, it's also a powerful teaching on generosity and the use of resources. The Samaritan uses his time, his energy, and his money to help someone in need, someone who, culturally, he had no obligation to help. This parable challenges us to expand our view of generosity. It's not just about giving money to charity or helping those we know and like. It's about being willing to use our resources, all of them, to help anyone in need, even those we might consider other or enemy. Think about it. How often do we pass by opportunities to help because we're too busy, too focused on our own goals, or too protective of our resources? The Samaritan's example challenges us to see our time, energy, and money not as things to hoard, but as tools to express love and make a difference. Moreover, the Samaritan's generosity wasn't just a one-time act. He committed to coming back and covering any additional expenses. This teaches us about the importance of follow-through in our generosity. Sometimes, making a real difference requires ongoing commitment, not just a one-time donation. Now let's bring these parables together and consider their collective wisdom for our financial lives today. First, from the parable of the talents, we learn the importance of active stewardship. We're called to multiply the resources we've been given, not out of greed, but out of a recognition that we're managers, not owners of what we have. This challenges us to be proactive with our finances, constantly looking for ways to grow and maximize our resources for good. From the parable of the rich fool, we're reminded to keep an eternal perspective. Our goal shouldn't be to accumulate wealth for its own sake, but to be rich toward God, using our resources in ways that have lasting spiritual value. This parable urges us to look beyond our own comfort and security and consider how our wealth can serve a greater purpose. The parable of the dishonest manager challenges us to be shrewd and strategic in how we use our resources for eternal purposes. It's not enough to just manage money well. We need to leverage it for kingdom impact. This might mean being more intentional about our giving, or finding creative ways to use our skills and resources to benefit others and advance God's purposes. And finally, the Good Samaritan reminds us that true generosity goes beyond our comfort zones, challenging us to use our resources to love and serve others, even those we might not naturally incline towards. It teaches us that our neighbor is anyone in need, regardless of their background or relationship to us. Taken together, these parables paint a picture of financial management that's radically different from what the world often teaches. It's not about accumulating wealth for personal security or status. It's about faithful stewardship, strategic generosity, and an eternal perspective that sees money as a tool for expressing love and advancing God's kingdom. So, how do we apply these principles in our modern context? Here are some practical steps to consider. Audit your resources. Take stock not just of your money, but of your time, skills, and other resources. Are you using them to their full potential, or are you burying some talents? This might involve creating a detailed budget to understand where your money is going, or making a list of your skills and considering how you could use them to serve others. Develop an eternal perspective. When making financial decisions, ask yourself, how will this impact eternity? This doesn't mean you can't enjoy life now, but it does mean considering the long-term, spiritual implications of your choices. For example, before making a major purchase, you might ask yourself if that money could be better used to support a cause you believe in or to help someone in need. Be strategic in your giving. Don't just give randomly or out of guilt. Like the shrewd manager, think about how your giving can have the most significant impact. This might involve researching charities to ensure your donations are being used effectively, or considering how you can support causes that align with your values and skills. Expand your definition of generosity. Look for opportunities to be generous not just with your money, but with your time, skills, and other resources. This could mean volunteering your professional skills to a nonprofit organization, mentoring someone in your field, or simply being more available to help friends and neighbors in need. Challenge your comfort zones. Like the Good Samaritan, be willing to help even when it's inconvenient or outside your usual circles. This might mean stepping up to help in a crisis, even if it disrupts your plans, or reaching out to support someone from a different background or community. Invest in relationships. Remember, Jesus said to use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves. This isn't about buying friendship, but about using your resources to build meaningful relationships and community. This could involve hosting gatherings, supporting friends in need, or investing time and resources in your local community. Seek wisdom. Proverbs tells us that wisdom is more valuable than gold. Invest time in studying biblical financial principles and seeking godly counsel for your financial decisions. This might involve reading books on biblical finance, attending workshops, or seeking mentorship from someone who models wise stewardship. Practice contentment. The rich fool's problem wasn't his wealth, but his attitude towards it. Learn to be content with what you have, while still stewarding it wisely. This might involve practicing gratitude daily, or periodically fasting from purchases to reset your perspective on needs versus wants. Balance saving and giving. While the Bible encourages saving, think of Joseph in Egypt, it also emphasizes generosity. Strive for a balance that honors both principles. This could mean setting specific savings goals while also setting giving goals, ensuring that as your income increases, both your savings and your giving increase proportionally. Remember the source. Ultimately recognize that everything you have comes from God. This perspective fosters gratitude and responsible stewardship. It might help to start each day by thanking God for specific blessings, or to pause before major financial decisions to pray for wisdom and guidance. Multiply your talents. Look for ways to grow your skills and resources. This could mean taking courses to improve your professional skills, starting a side business to increase your income, or finding ways to make your existing resources more productive. Consider your legacy. Think about the long-term impact of your financial decisions. How can you use your resources to leave a positive legacy? This might involve estate planning that includes charitable giving, or investing in education and opportunities for the next generation. Practice sacrificial giving. Challenge yourself to give in ways that stretch you. This doesn't mean being irresponsible, but it does mean being willing to give up some personal comforts for the sake of others. You might try setting aside a percentage of your income for spontaneous acts of generosity. Use your skills as a form of generosity. Your talents are a form of wealth. Look for ways to use your professional or personal skills to benefit others without expecting payment. This could be offering free tutoring, providing pro bono professional services to nonprofits, or using your hobby skills to create items for those in need. Invest ethically. Consider the ethical implications of your investments. Are you supporting companies and industries that align with your values? This might involve researching socially responsible investment options, or choosing to support businesses that prioritize ethical practices. As we wrap up our exploration of Jesus' parables about money, I want to leave you with a challenge. Take some time this week to really reflect on your relationship with money. Are your financial habits aligned with the principles we've discussed? Are you viewing your resources through an eternal lens? Imagine for a moment how your life and the lives of those around you might change if you fully embraced these biblical financial principles. What if you started seeing every dollar not just as currency, but as a seed with the potential to grow into eternal fruit? The beauty of these parables is that they offer us a radically different paradigm for understanding wealth and success. It's not about having the biggest barns or the most talents. It's about faithfully and creatively using what we've been given to make a lasting impact. Remember, this journey of aligning our finances with biblical principles is not a one-time decision, but a lifelong process. It requires constant reflection, adjustment, and growth. But the rewards, both in this life and in eternity, are immeasurable. As we conclude, I want to encourage you to take action. Don't let this just be another video you watch and forget. Let it be the catalyst for real change in your life. Here are a few steps you can take right now. Reflect. Take some time to honestly evaluate your current financial habits and attitudes. Where do they align with biblical principles, and where might they need adjustment? Consider journaling your thoughts or discussing them with a trusted friend or family member. Pray. Ask God for wisdom and guidance in applying these principles to your specific situation. Remember, He's not just interested in your money, but in your heart. Pray for discernment to see your resources as He does, and for courage to make any necessary changes. Start small. Choose one principle we've discussed today and commit to implementing it this week. Maybe it's looking for an opportunity to be unexpectedly generous, or setting aside time to plan how you can multiply your talents. Small, consistent steps can lead to significant change over time. Share. Discuss these principles with a trusted friend or family member. Sometimes, verbalizing our intentions can help us stay accountable. Consider forming a small group to study biblical financial principles together and support each other in applying them. Educate yourself. Dive deeper into biblical financial principles. There are many excellent books and resources available that can help you grow in this area. Consider setting aside regular time for financial education, viewing it as an investment in your future. Seek counsel. If you're facing significant financial decisions or challenges, don't hesitate to seek advice from wise, godly mentors or professional financial advisors who share these biblical values. Remember, Proverbs tells us that in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Review and adjust. Set a reminder to review your progress in a month. What's working well? Where are you struggling? Be willing to adjust your approach as needed, always keeping the core principles in mind. As we look ahead, I'm excited to announce that in our next video, we'll be exploring the biblical concepts of tithing and offerings. We'll delve into what the Bible really says about these practices and how they can transform not just our finances, but our entire approach to life and faith. I truly believe that as we align our financial lives with God's principles, we'll experience a level of freedom, purpose, and impact that goes far beyond anything the world's financial wisdom can offer. It's not always easy, and it often goes against the grain of our culture, but it's a journey that's infinitely worth it. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Jesus' parables about money. I hope you've been challenged, encouraged, and equipped to view your finances through a new lens. Remember, every financial decision is ultimately a spiritual decision, an opportunity to trust God and invest in His kingdom. Before we part ways, I want to hear from you. Which of these parables resonated with you the most? How do you plan to apply these principles in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights might be just what someone else needs to hear. If you found value in today's discussion, please don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with friends and family who might benefit from these timeless financial principles. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss our upcoming deep dive into tithing and offerings. Remember, true wealth isn't measured by the size of your bank account, but by the impact of your life. So go out there and start investing in what truly matters. Until next time, may you be blessed to be a blessing. See you in our next video.